When we think about being persuasive, our minds usually jump straight to the message, right? We think about finding the perfect words or the most compelling arguments. But what if I told you the most crucial part of influence actually happens before you even say a word? That's the secret we're going to crack open right now. So let me just ask you something, right here, right now. Think about it for a second. Are you an adventurous person? Okay, get this. In a study, researchers who led with that exact question, just asking people if they were adventurous, saw this huge spike in how many were willing to try a brand new drink and even hand over their email address. Kind of sounds like a magic trick, doesn't it? But why? How on earth can a simple question like that have so much sway over what we do next? Well, that's the big mystery we're going to solve today. Now, this isn't just some clever little marketing gimmick. That question is actually a perfect window into a really deep psychological principle that quietly steers our decisions all the time, usually, completely under our radar. See, the real secret here, it's not about the sales pitch for the drink. It's not in the request for the email. The magic is all in that tiny, privileged moment before the real request is even made. It's all about setting the stage. And that brings us right to the heart of an idea from the brilliant psychologist Robert Cialdini. He's got a name for this incredibly powerful preliminary step. He calls it Pre-Suasion. So what is it? Simply put, Pre-Suasion is the art of getting people ready to say yes to your message before they've even heard what your message is. It's about guiding their attention to a concept that just so happens to line up perfectly with what you're about to ask for. And as Cialdini himself puts it, this isn't just some minor tactic. No, this is what the absolute best communicators do. They spend most of their time preparing the mental soil before they even think about planting the seed of an idea. So how does this work inside our heads? Well, the engine driving Pre-Suasion is a really simple, almost primal mental shortcut we all have. Whatever we're focusing on at any given moment, our brain tends to think of as the cause. Let me show you what I mean. I want you to think of your attention as a spotlight. Whatever that beam of light happens to land on, it doesn't just get brighter in your mind. Your brain automatically inflates its importance, assuming it's the key driver, the main cause of whatever's going on. And here's a wild example of this in action. In experiments done by Dr. Shelley Taylor, if you just change the camera angle in a recorded conversation so that one person's face is more visible, guess what? People watching it later will rate that person as the most influential one in the group, even if they barely said anything, just because their face was in the spotlight. Incredible, right? Okay, so if grabbing that mental spotlight and pointing it where you want is the secret sauce, the next big question is, how do you do it? What kinds of things just naturally grab our attention? Well, research points to a few big ones. First up, anything about you. The second we hear that word, our ears perk up. It's personal. Second, anything that seems threatening. We're wired to look for danger, but for persuasion, this only works if you immediately offer a clear way out. And third, the unfinished. Our brains are obsessed with closure. Mysteries, puzzles, cliffhangers, they grab our attention because we just have to know how it ends. And what's really fascinating is how just a single word can direct that spotlight. For example, when researchers talked about crime as a wild beast, people immediately started focusing on solutions like building more jails and hiring more police. But when they framed the exact same problem as a virus, people's minds shifted to finding and treating the root causes, things like poverty and education. Same problem, totally different focus, all because of one metaphor. Now, building on all his classic work, Cialdini actually introduced a brand new, a seventh principle of influence, and it is a masterclass in persuasion. It's the idea of unity. Unity goes way deeper than just being similar to someone. It's not about being like them. It's the feeling that you are of them. Think about the powerful, almost automatic bond you feel with family or people from your hometown, that deep-seated sense of shared identity. And when a communicator can tap into that we feeling, persuasion becomes almost automatic. Our desire to help, to agree, it just skyrockets. Because on a gut level, our brain sees their interests as our interests. All right, so let's bring all this home. What does this really mean for you, for the hundreds of choices you're going to make today, tomorrow, and the next day? If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Who you are when you make a choice is largely determined by where your attention happened to be resting just a second before. Remember that marketer who asked if you were adventurous? They didn't magically change your personality, they just shone a temporary spotlight on a part of you that was already there. And that really leaves us with a final, pretty mind-bending thought, doesn't it? If our choices are so easily swayed by these fleeting moments of focus, well, it makes you wonder how much of any decision is really us, and how much of it is just a reflection of where that mental spotlight happened to be pointing.